Today I'll be taking a look at this action camera by ViDi. The camera comes ready to use right out of the box. It comes pre-charged with a micro SD card included, a selfie stick, and a charging cable. I have it attached to my helmet using the waterproof housing and the 1/4" D-ring screws that I normally use for attaching my helmet camera. Give you guys a look at the specifications here. It will allow you to play back and delete right from the LCD on the back. It's a 1.5-inch LCD. It does have a 4x digital zoom built in. It'll take up to a 64GB card. Some information about the lens and the max resolution, which is 12 megapixel for images. It is Apple and Windows compatible. The image sensor is a low light 2 megapixel CMOS sensor. It'll take JPEG or videos in MOV format. The video resolution is 1080p 30 frames per second or 720p 30 frames per second. There is a built-in microphone and the interface, it does have a USB one. It'll run for about 90 minutes on a charge, and it does have a built-in lithium battery. The ViDi measures 2.69 inches wide by 1.89 inches high by 1.25 inches deep. Okay, so I'm just going to take the ViDi for a quick ride on my Raptor 700 around my backyard here, and I'll post the sample footage so you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like we're recording now. I still have the duffel bag attached from our Green Chili Adventure Gear review. So this will also be a good test with that attached. Well, it does have a very compact design. The ViDi is wider, taller, and also thicker than the GoPro. It has a slightly tapered shape. At the bottom it is more wide, at the top it is more narrow. You can see on the sides it does have the port for the USB and micro SD slot. And on the other side there is no ports. There's a hole on the bottom for reset and some holes on the back for the flashing lights. On top there are 4 buttons. The first button is your power button. The second button is for bringing up the system menu. The third button is for navigating the menu. And the fourth button is for recording or taking photos. The ViDi comes with a waterproof case, very similar to the one that ships with the Hero3. I actually found opening and closing the end latch on the ViDi to be very easy. You can do it with one hand. It's a very simple operation. Since it's a little bit larger case, I found it easier to move and manipulate the door versus the one on the GoPro, which has kind of a smaller latch at the top that does help keep it closed in the event of a crash or dropping the camera, but it can be slightly more difficult to operate with gloves on, or if you maybe have larger hands that can't get in to grip this little tiny latch at the top here. There's no little tiny latch on the ViDi cam. You simply lift this part right here and it pops open. I think that the new GoPro designs are a little bit different, but on this Hero 3 Black Edition that I have, the case has this little tiny notch here, and then you lift the front. Give you a quick look at how the ViDi looks inside of the waterproof housing compared to the Hero 3 inside of its waterproof housing. This is the Hero 3, and I've included the screw that attaches it to the base. Otherwise you have no way with the Hero of attaching it to a tripod. So this is the tripod mount for the Hero 3. The ViDi, on the other hand, actually has a tripod mount built right into the bottom of the case. So you can see there where it has a little piece of threaded metal there that you can screw right onto a tripod or a helmet cam mount. It also has one on the bottom of the camera as well if you weren't using the waterproof housing and you wanted to just screw the camera right to a tripod without the housing on it. So to prove that the waterproof housing is indeed waterproof, I submerged it in the horse trough. Alright, so this is the selfie stick that the ViDi cam comes with. You can see it's got an articulating, angled arm on the end of the stick here, so it expands out, and then you can tighten and loosen that elbow there, and then it has a piece underneath where you can tighten the 1/4 inch screw that goes up into the case. So we'll not only test the selfie stick, but we'll also test the case to make sure it's watertight. So here we go. I'm going to turn on the ViDi now as well. And flashing red light. Okay, looks like we're recording. Just going to thin the selfie stick out as far as it goes. See, it goes quite a ways. And here we go. Okay, so you can see it's still recording. I don't know if you can see the little red light flashing down in there, but it's definitely still recording. I have it submerged at the bottom of this horse trough. I'll just leave it there for probably a good 30-40 seconds just to make sure it is indeed waterproof. And there it is. Looks like it's still recording, and I don't see any water inside of the case. And to prove that the housing was also very durable, I went ahead and ran it over with the Raptor 700 a couple of times. Next, I'll be testing the ViDi and the GoPro to see how they float. The ViDi claims to be able to float right out of the box, while the Hero, you have to purchase a special back for it called the floaty back. As you can see, the Hero has sunk to the bottom of the sink while the ViDi is indeed floating. This is pretty helpful if you're going to be using the ViDi for water sports. You know, if you're going to be using it on a boat or a jet ski, or taking it swimming, jumping off waterfalls, or going off of a rope swing into the lake. You know, if you happen to lose it or it comes undone from whatever mount you're using, it's just really nice to know that it will float to the surface. I have almost already lost my GoPro a couple of times going off of a rope swing into the lake, and it came loose, and I was actually able to catch it as it was sinking to the bottom of the lake. But I know a lot of people who haven't been quite so lucky and have actually lost their GoPros due to the fact that they do not float. Some of the disadvantages I didn't like about the ViDi, there is not a removable battery. So I do like to have a removable battery. With the GoPro, I tend to bring some spare batteries along for a longer ride. With the ViDi, you don't have the swappable battery. It has the built-in lithium battery, so really that's it. You charge it and then you get what you get out of it until you recharge it again. So for longer rides and adventures, the ViDi might not be the camera for you. Another disadvantage I found with the ViDi is that I often mount my GoPro upside down underneath my helmet. The GoPro has a setting where you can invert the video footage so it's recorded with the proper orientation. I didn't find this setting in the ViDi. Since I was mounting the camera upside down in my helmet, I had to basically go back and re-edit the footage later with software. This isn't a big deal if you're already going to be editing your video, but if you like to post your clips straight to the web without editing them first, this may pose a problem. You may need to find a way to mount the ViDi in the correct orientation so that your videos come out with up being up and not upside down. So overall, I feel the ViDi is a nice little camera for the price. Some advantages that it does have over the GoPro: it is a less expensive camera. It does seem to be a little bit easier to operate. There's less menu features to flip through. The buttons seem to be easier to use. It comes included with an LCD screen on the back where you can review your footage. If you're looking for a simple, easy to use, affordable action camera, the ViDi might be the one for you.